Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching the stars through the big window. The ship was huge, bigger than 3 football fields put together. It had been flying through space for 6 months now, looking for new planets and checking if they were safe for humans. Jake was 42 years old and had been in space for most of his life. He had short brown hair that was going gray at the sides. His uniform was dark blue with gold stripes on the shoulders. He liked being in space because it was quiet and peaceful, far away from all the problems on Earth. The bridge was full of computers and screens that showed maps of space. 20 people worked there, watching the instruments and making sure the ship was safe. Most of them were young, but they knew their jobs well. Jack trusted them with his life every day. Lieutenant Commander Amy Chen sat at the science station. She was 35 years old, with long black hair, tied back in a neat bun. Amy was very smart and knew more about aliens and space than almost anyone. She spent most of her time looking at data from other planets and trying to understand what they found. Chief Engineer Rick Santos worked down in the engine room, but he often came to the bridge to talk with Jake. Rick was a big man with strong hands and a loud laugh. He could fix anything on the ship and made sure they always had power and air to breathe. The ship was flying near a star called Vega when something strange happened. Amy was looking at her computer when all the screens started flashing red. A loud beeping sound filled the bridge. "Captain," Amy said, her voice excited but worried, "I am getting a signal, but this is not like anything we have seen before." Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of signal is coming from?" "The 3rd planet in this system, but Captain, the signal is not from humans. I think it might be from aliens." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at Amy's screen. In all their years of flying through space, humans had never found aliens before. They had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. "Are you sure?" Jake asked. Amy checked her computers again. "Yes, sir. The signal is too complex to be natural. Someone or something is trying to talk to us." Jake felt his heart beating faster. This was the most important moment in human history. "Can you understand what they are saying?" "I am trying, sir." "The signal has patterns like language. It is very different from human languages, but I think I can work on it." For the next 3 hours, Amy and her team worked on the alien signal. They used every computer program they had to try to understand it. Slowly, they started to make sense of some words. The first word they understood was help. Then they found please and danger. Jake realized that whoever was sending the signal was in trouble. Finally, Amy looked up with wide eyes. "Captain, I think I have most of it. Aliens call themselves Zephyrians. They live on the planet where the signal is coming from." "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Amy read from her screen. "They say their planet is being attacked by machines. These machines are eating their world and killing their people. The Zephyrians have watched our TV and radio signals from Earth. They know we are good at fighting, and they want our help." Jake could not believe what he was hearing.
"They want
"Us to fight for them?" "Yes, sir. But there is more. They say they will give us their technology if we help them. They have medicine that can make people live longer and energy systems that are much better than ours." Rick Santos had come to the bridge during the translation work. He whistled when he heard this. "Captain, if they have better technology, it could solve a lot of problems on Earth." And he continued reading. "They also mentioned something called Warborn. They seem to know about our enhanced soldiers. They specifically ask for the Warborn to come help them." Jake's face went pale. The Warborn program was top secret. How could aliens know about it? The Warborn were special soldiers who had been changed with surgery and computers to make them stronger and faster than normal humans. Only a few people on Earth even knew they existed. "How do they know about the Warborn?" Jake asked. "They say they've been listening to our military radio signals for years, learned about many things, including the enhanced soldiers." Jake walked back to his captain's chair and sat down hard. This was too big for him to decide alone. He needed to call Earth and talk to the military leaders. "Amy, send everything we have learned to Luna Base. Tell Admiral Cross that we need to talk to her right away." "Yes, sir." As Amy worked on sending the message, Jake looked out at the stars again. Everything had changed in just a few hours. Humans were no longer alone in the universe. But the first aliens they met were not coming in peace to be friends. They were asking for help in a war. Jake wondered what kind of machines could scare an alien race so much that they would ask strangers for help. He also wondered if humans were strong enough to fight against something that could destroy entire planets. The signal from the aliens was still coming through the speakers. Even though he could not understand all the words, Jake could hear the fear and desperation in the voices. These people were dying, and they thought humans might be their only hope. Within an hour, Admiral Cross called back from Luna Base. Her face appeared on the main screen, looking serious and tired. "Jake," she said, "this changes everything. I am calling an emergency meeting of the Defense Council. Keep monitoring that. Signal and learn everything you can about these Zephyrians and the machines that are attacking them." "Yes, Admiral." "What about the Warborn? Should I mention that the aliens know about them?" Admiral Cross was quiet for a moment. "Yes. Tell the Council everything. If we are going to help these aliens, we need to know exactly what we are getting into." After the call ended, Jake ordered his crew to move the ship closer to the alien planet. They needed to see what was happening there and learn more about both the Zephyrians and their enemies. As the Defender flew toward the planet, Jake could not shake the feeling that this was the beginning of something much bigger than just helping one alien race. The universe had just become a much more dangerous place. Admiral Helen Cross sat in the big meeting room at Luna Base, the most important military center on the moon. The room had a large round table with 12 chairs around it. Big screens covered the walls, showing maps of Earth, the moon, and the space around them. Helen was 55 years old and had been in charge of human space defense for 10 years. She had gray hair and sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. Today, those eyes were worried. The news from Captain Morrison's ship had changed everything. The other members of the Solar Defense Council were arriving one by one. General Pete Johnson, from the Mars colonies, walked in first. He was a big man with a red face who always spoke his mind. Behind him came Senator Lisa Park, who represented Earth's government in space matters. Dr. Lisa Park was different from the senator. She was the head of the Warborn Enhancement Program, the most secret project in human history. Lisa was 40 years old, with short blonde hair and hands that always seemed to shake a little. She had created the enhanced soldiers that the aliens somehow knew about. Colonel Danny Hayes entered last. He was in charge of all the Warborn units and looked like he could fight a bear with his bare hands. Danny was 38 years old, tall and strong, with scars on his face from old battles. Soldiers would follow him anywhere. Helen stood up when everyone was seated. "We all know why we are here. For the first time in human history, aliens have contacted us, but they are not coming in peace. They are asking for our help in a war." She pressed a button, and the screens showed pictures that Captain Morrison had sent from the alien planet. The pictures showed a beautiful blue world covered in oceans and floating cities. But parts of the planet were dark and dead, like something had eaten them. "These are the Zephyrians," Helen continued. "They live in the water and have built amazing cities that float on their oceans. They seem to be peaceful people who never wanted to fight anyone." General Johnson leaned forward. "What is attacking them?" Helen pressed another button. The screens now showed metal ships and machines that looked like giant insects. They were tearing apart the floating cities and sucking up everything into their metal bodies. They call them devourers. These machines eat entire planets. They turn everything into more machines and spread across space like a disease. Senator Park looked sick. "How many planets have they destroyed?" "According to the Zephyrians, dozens, maybe hundreds. The aliens have been running from them for years, but now they have nowhere left to go." Dr. Lisa Park spoke up. "Why are they asking us for help? We just started flying in space a few years ago. What could we possibly do against machines that destroy planets?" Helen looked at Colonel Hayes. "Danny, tell them what the aliens specifically asked for." Danny stood up, his voice deep and strong. "They want the Warborn they somehow know about. Our enhanced soldiers, and think we can fight these machines." The room became very quiet. The Warborn program was so secret that most people in the government did not know it existed. Only the 12 people in this room and a few others knew the truth. How do they know about the Warborn? Senator Park asked. They've been listening to our radio signals for years, Helen answered. They learned our languages and found out about many of our military secrets. Dr. Lisa Park looked worried. The Warborn were created to protect humanity, not to fight in alien wars. What exactly are these Warborn capable of? General Johnson asked. Dr. Park stood up and walked to one of the screens. She pressed some buttons and pictures of soldiers appeared. They looked human, but stronger and faster. The Warborn are volunteers who agreed to be changed, she explained. We used surgery and computer implants to make them better than normal humans. They are 5 times stronger, 3 times faster, and their brains can process information like computers. How many do we have? Senator Park asked. 200 active soldiers, Danny answered. They train every day and are ready for anything. These are the best fighters humanity has ever created. Helen showed more pictures from the alien planet. The Zephyrians sent us detailed information about the Devourers. These machines are not random destroyers. They have a plan. They eat planets to build more machines and spread across the galaxy. What do they want with all these resources? General Johnson asked. We think they are building something huge, Helen said. Maybe a giant machine or a weapon. Do not know for sure, but they are afraid that if the Devourers finish their project, A will be able to destroy entire star systems. Dr. Park looked at the pictures of the machines. These Devourers must have weaknesses. Nothing is perfect. The aliens say they do, Danny said. The machines work together like a hive of bees. They have command centers that control large groups. If you destroy the command center, the other machines become confused and easier to fight. Senator Park shook her head. This sounds very dangerous. Why should we risk human lives for aliens we just met? Helen had been waiting for this question, because if we do not help them, we might be next. The Devourers are spreading across the galaxy. Eventually, they will find Earth. But we could also hide, General Johnson said. Space is big. Maybe they will never find us. Zephyrians thought the same thing, Helen replied. They ran for years, but the machines always found them. These Devourers are very good at tracking down life. Danny stepped forward. Admiral, my soldiers want to fight. The Warborn were created to protect humanity from threats we could not imagine. This is exactly what they trained for. Dr. Park looked worried. But if we send them and they all die, we will have no defense against future threats. If we do not send them, and the Devourers keep growing stronger, we will have no defense anyway. Danny replied. Helen looked around the table at each person. There is something else. Zephyrians are offering us their technology in return for our help. They have medical treatments that could make humans live twice as long. They also have clean energy systems that could solve Earth's pollution problems. This made everyone pay attention. Earth was still struggling with climate change and energy shortages. The alien technology could save billions of human lives. What kind of medical treatments? Dr. Park asked. They can repair damaged organs and stop the aging process, Helen said. They also have treatments for diseases we cannot cure. Senator Park looked interested in their energy systems. They use living plants that produce more energy than nuclear reactors, but with no pollution or danger. General Johnson whistled. That technology could change everything. Helen nodded. But only if we help them survive. If the Devourers destroy their planet, we get nothing. The room was quiet as everyone thought about the decision. Finally, Colonel Hayes spoke. Admiral, I think we should help them. The Warborn are ready, and this might be our only chance to get technology that could save Earth. Dr. Park was still worried. What if it is a trap? What if the aliens are lying to us? Then we will find out when we get there, Danny said. If they are telling the truth, and we do nothing, we will regret it forever. Helen looked at each member of the council. All in favor of sending a military force to help the Zephyrians? 7 hands went up. 4 stayed down. 1 person was not sure. The motion passes, Helen said. Danny, how many Warborn can you have? Ready in 1 week? 50 of my best soldiers? Admiral, you can leave immediately. Good. I want you to take the UES Reaper. It is our fastest ship and has the best weapons. Danny smiled. My soldiers will be honored to serve, Admiral. As the meeting ended, Helen looked out the window at Earth hanging in space. Soon, human soldiers would be fighting on an alien world against machines that destroyed planets. She hoped she was making the right choice, but deep in her heart, she knew this was just the beginning. The universe was full of dangers that humanity had never imagined. The Warborn would be the first to face these threats, but they would not be the last. The age of humanity. Fighting for survival among the stars had begun. The UES Reaper was the most powerful warship humanity had ever built. It was black as space itself and shaped like a long knife. The ship was 1 mile long and had weapons that could destroy entire cities. Its engines could push it faster than any other human ship. Staff Sergeant Kate Miller stood in the main hangar, watching her soldiers prepare for the mission. Kate was 28 years old but looked younger because of the medical treatments that came with being Warborn. She had short red hair and green eyes that seemed to glow in the dark. Kate's body had been changed in ways that normal humans could barely understand. Her bones were stronger than steel. Her muscles could lift a car without effort. Computer chips in her brain let her think faster than any human who had ever lived. But most important, she could stay calm and make good decisions, even when everything around her was chaos. 50 Warborn soldiers moved through the hangar, checking their weapons and equipment. They all looked young and strong, but their eyes were different from normal humans. They had seen things and done things that changed them forever. Corporal Ben Clark was loading ammunition into his rifle. Ben was 25 years old and had been a Warborn for 3 years. He was tall and thin, but his thin body could move faster than the eye could follow. Ben was an expert with every weapon humans had ever made. Next to him, Corporal Alex Foster was checking his armor. Alex was 26 and built like a tank. His job was to carry the heavy weapons that normal soldiers could not even lift. Alex could punch through a steel wall or carry a wounded soldier for miles without getting tired. Colonel Danny Hayes walked among his soldiers, talking to each one. He had trained these men and women personally and knew them better than their own families. Each Warborn had volunteered for the program knowing they might never be able to go back to normal human life. "Listen up," Danny called out. His voice carried easily across the huge hangar. "In 2 hours, we jump to hyperspace. It will take us 2 weeks to reach the alien system. During that time, you will train every day and study everything we know about the enemy." Kate raised her hand. "Colonel, what can you tell us about fighting these machines?" Danny smiled. Kate always asked the important questions. "The aliens call them devourers, and they are not like any enemy we have faced before. They do not get tired, they do not feel fear, and they do not make mistakes because they are angry." "Oh." "What are their weaknesses?" Ben asked. "They think like computers," Danny replied. "They follow patterns and rules. If we can figure out their patterns, we can predict what they will do and set traps for them." Alex looked up from his equipment. "How tough are they?" "Tough enough that normal human weapons barely hurt them," Danny said. "But your weapons are not normal. The rifles and explosives you carry were designed specifically for the Warborn. They should be able to damage the machines." Captain Sarah Williams, the ship's pilot, announced over the speakers that they were ready to leave. The Reaper began to move away from Mars, heading for empty space where they could safely enter hyperspace. Kate felt the ship vibrate as the engines powered up to full strength. She had never been this far from Earth before. None of the Warborn had. They were about to become the first humans to fight in an interstellar war. During the 2-week journey, the Warborn trained constantly. They practiced fighting in zero gravity, which was very different from fighting on a planet. They learned to use their new weapons and studied every piece of information the aliens had sent about the Devers. The aliens had sent videos of the machines attacking their cities. Kate watched these videos over and over, trying to understand how the enemy moved and fought. The Devourers looked like giant metal spiders with sharp legs and glowing red eyes. They moved in groups and seemed to communicate without making any sound. "They are beautiful in a horrible way," Kate said to Ben as they watched another video. "Beautiful?" Ben looked at her like she was crazy. "Look at how perfectly they move together," Kate explained. "Every step is planned. Every action has a purpose. They are like a dance of death. Alex joined them in the video room, a dance we need to learn how to interrupt. Dr. Mark Roberts, the ship's scientist, had been studying the alien technology they were given. Got the spite in her squad in the mess hall during dinner. Sergeant Miller, he said, sitting down across from her. I have been analyzing the Zephyrian biotechnology. It's incredible. They grow their buildings and ships like plants instead of building them with metal and plastic. How does that help us fight the machines? Kate asked. The aliens say their technology can interface with your computer implants, Dr. Roberts explained. You might be able to connect directly with their weapons and vehicles. Ben looked interested. What would that feel like? I do not know, Dr. Roberts admitted. No human has ever tried it. But the aliens think it will make you faster and more effective in combat. Kate thought about this, the idea of connecting. Her brain to alien technology was scary, but if it helped them win the war, she was willing to try anything. On the 10th day of the journey, they received another message from the Zephyrians. The situation on their planet was getting worse. The Devourers had destroyed 2 more floating cities and were building something huge in the middle of the main ocean. Captain Morrison from the EU's Defender sent them detailed scans of the alien system. Kate studied the images on her tablet computer. The Zephyrian planet was beautiful, with blue oceans and white clouds. But dark spots were spreading across the surface, where the machines had consumed everything. How many people live on that planet? Alex asked, looking over her shoulder. Kate checked the information. About 50 million Zephyrians. But the number is dropping every day. 50 million, Ben repeated quietly.
That is more people than live on Mars.
The weight of responsibility settled on Kate's shoulders. 50 million lives depended on her and her fellow Warborn. If they failed, an entire species would die. Colonel Hayes gathered all the soldiers for a final briefing before they arrived at the alien system. The briefing room was packed with 50 of the deadliest warriors humanity had ever created. Tomorrow we reach the Zephyrian system, Danny began. Intelligence reports that the Devourers have completely surrounded the planet. We will be outnumbered. At least 100 to 1. Kate smiled grimly. She and her fellow Warborn had trained for impossible odds. Being outnumbered was just another challenge to overcome.
Ow!
Our mission is simple, Danny continued. Find the main command center that controls the Devourer fleet and destroy it? The aliens believe this will disrupt their coordination and give the Zephyrian forces a chance to fight back. What if there is more than one command center? Someone asked. Then we destroy them all, Danny replied simply. Alex raised his hand. Colonel, what are our rules of engagement? Danny's face became hard as stone. The Devourers are machines that destroy entire planets. They have no souls and feel no mercy. You are authorized to use any means necessary to complete the mission. There are no rules in this war except survival. Kate felt a chill run down her spine. She had never heard Colonel Hayes speak like that before. This mission was different from anything they had trained for. As the meeting ended, Kate walked to the observation deck to look at the stars. Tomorrow she would see her first alien world. Tomorrow she would fight enemies that could destroy planets. Tomorrow she might die in a place so far from Earth that her body would never come home. But Kate was not afraid. She was Warborn, created to protect humanity and fight impossible battles. She and her fellow soldiers would face whatever waited. For them in the alien system, Ben and Alex joined her at the observation window. The 3 friends stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars stream past as the ship flew toward their destiny. Do you think we will win? Ben asked. Quietly, Kate thought about the question for a long moment. I think we will do our duty, she finally said. Whatever happens after that is up to fate. Alex nodded. The Warborn do not surrender. We do not retreat. We do not fail. The Warborn do not fail, Kate and Ben repeated together. It was their motto burned into their minds during training. Tomorrow, they would find out if it was true. The EU's Reaper dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system. Through the main viewing screen, Kate Miller and her fellow Warborn could see the alien planet for the first time. It should have been beautiful, with its blue oceans and floating cities. Instead, it looked like a world under attack. Dark metal structures orbited the planet like a cage. Thousands of devourer ships moved between these structures, carrying materials stripped from the planet's surface. The largest structure was directly above the main continent, a black pyramid 5 miles tall that pulsed with red light. "My God," Captain Williams whispered from the pilot's seat. "What have they built?" Kate watched through her enhanced vision as smaller devourer units swarmed across the planet's surface. Entire sections of ocean had been drained dry, leaving only dead seafloor behind. The beautiful floating cities were being torn apart piece by piece. Colonel Hayes stood behind the main console, studying the tactical displays. "Sergeant Miller, report to the briefing room. We have established contact with the Zephyrian Military Command." Kate made her way through the ship's corridors to the briefing room. Inside, a holographic image showed an alien unlike anything she had imagined. The Zephyrian was tall and thin, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow from within. Its large eyes were dark as deep water, and it moved with flowing grace. "I am Elder Veltum, commander of what remains of our defense forces," the alien said through a translation device. Its voice sounded like water flowing over rocks. "Your arrival gives us hope, but I must tell you the truth. We're losing this war badly." Danny stepped forward. "Elder, what can you tell us about the main Devourer command structure?" The alien's image changed to show a detailed map of the Black Pyramid above the planet. 3 days ago, our scouts discovered that this structure contained something we did not expect. The Devourers have captured and enslaved a member of another species. This being is being used as a living computer to coordinate their attacks. Kate felt sick. The idea of using a living creature as a machine was horrible beyond words. "What species?" Stanny asked. "We call them the Architects," Veltam replied. "They are very old and very powerful. Legend says they created the Devourers long ago as construction tools, but the machines turned against their creators." "How do we reach this enslaved being?" Kate asked. The alien pointed to different sections of the pyramid. "The structure has many levels of defense. It's automated weapons, patrol units, and traps designed to stop intruders. The core containing the Architect is at the very center, protected by the strongest defenses." Danny studied the layout carefully. "How many of your people are still alive?" Veltam's expression became sad. 43 million. We lose thousands every day. If the Devourers finish their construction project, they will have enough resources to build a fleet large enough to consume entire star systems." Kate looked at her fellow soldiers. 50 Warborn against an army of planet-destroying machines. The odds were impossible, but that had never stopped them before. Elder Kate said, "Your message mentioned that our technology could work with yours." "How?" Veltum brightened slightly. "Our ships and weapons are grown rather than built. They are alive in a sense, and can bond with other living beings. Your computer implants should allow you to interface directly with our biotechnology." "What would that do?" "It would make you faster, stronger, and more aware," the alien explained. "You would think and move as one with our weapons." Alex looked interested. "Any side effects?" "We do not know," Veltam admitted. "No human has ever tried it before." Danny made the decision quickly. "We will try it, Sergeant Miller. Select 5 volunteers for the first test." Kate nodded. "Ben, Alex, come with me. Williams, Carter, you too." She had chosen soldiers she trusted completely. An hour later, Kate found herself in the Reaper's medical bay, lying on an examination table while Dr. Roberts attached alien biotechnology to her computer implants. The device looked like a living plant with thin vines that connected to the ports behind her ears. "How do you feel?" Dr. Roberts asked. "Strange," Kate replied. "It tingles, like electricity, but warm." Suddenly, her vision changed. She could see energy patterns flowing through the ship's walls. She could sense the heartbeats of everyone in the room. Most amazing of all, she could feel the alien biotechnology responding to her thoughts. "This is incredible," she said, sitting up. "I can sense everything around me." Ben and Alex had similar reactions. The alien biotechnology enhanced their already improved senses and reflexes to levels that seemed impossible. How long will it last? Ben asked. Unknown, Dr. Roberts replied. The aliens say it should fade after a few hours if you disconnect from their technology. Kate stood up and walked to the weapons locker. When she picked up her rifle, she could feel it as if it were part of her own body. She knew exactly how. Many bullets it contained, its current temperature, and even small mechanical problems that needed fixing. We are ready, she told Danny. The attack began at dawn on the alien world. The Reaper and 3 Zephyrian ships approached the Black Pyramid from different directions. Kate and her enhanced squad launched in small stealth pods designed to slip past the Devourer sensors. As they flew toward the pyramid, Kate could see the true scale of the destruction below. Entire oceans had been drained. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were gone. The Devourers had turned a paradise into a wasteland in just a few months. Remember the plan, Kate said over the radio. We get inside, find the enslaved architect, and destroy the command center. In and out as fast as possible. Their pods landed on the pyramid's outer surface without being detected. Kate used her enhanced senses to scan for the best entry point. The biotechnology was amazing. She could feel the metal structure's weak points and detect guard patrols before they came into sight. Entry point located, she whispered.
Alex?
Use your heavy cutter on this section. Alex pulled out a device. That looked like a gun, but fired a beam of concentrated energy. Within seconds, he had cut a hole large enough for them to crawl through. Inside the pyramid, they found themselves in a maze of corridors filled with mechanical parts and glowing screens. The walls pulsed with energy, and Kate could hear a deep humming sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once. They moved carefully through the corridors, avoiding patrol units and automated defenses. Kate's enhanced senses warned her of danger before they encountered it. Twice they had to hide inside passages as groups of Devourer units marched past. After an hour of careful movement, they reached a large chamber near the pyramid's center. What they found there made Kate's blood run cold. Hundreds of Zephyrians hung suspended in mechanical harnesses, connected to the machines by tubes and wires. They were still alive, but being used as biological computers to help process information. My God, Ben whispered. They are using them as spare parts. Some of the captured aliens saw the humans and began making weak sounds through their mechanical restraints. Their eyes pleaded for help or death. Kate felt rage building in her chest. These machines were not just destroying a planet, they were torturing its people. We cannot save them all, Alex said quietly. But we can make sure this never happens again. Kate nodded, though her heart was breaking. Set charges on the main control systems. If we cannot free them, at least we can make sure they are not suffering anymore. As they planted explosives, Kate heard footsteps in the corridor outside. Devourer units had found their entry point and were searching for them. Time to go, she said. The main core is 3 levels down. They fought their way through increasingly heavy resistance as they descended deeper into the pyramid. The Devourer units were fast and deadly, but the enhanced Warborn were faster. Kate moved like liquid lightning, her rifle finding targets before her conscious mind even registered them. Ben covered their left flank, while Alex handled the heavy resistance with weapons that fired explosive shells. The alien biotechnology made them move together like parts of the same machine. Finally, they reached the core chamber. In the center of the room, suspended in a sphere of energy, is the enslaved architect. The being was unlike anything Kate had ever seen. It looked like it was made of pure light, shaped into a roughly humanoid form, but the light was dim and flickering, like a candle about to go out. When the architects sensed their presence, it spoke directly into their minds. Please, it said, its mental voice filled with pain. End this. I have been forced to watch as my creations destroy world after world. I cannot stop them. Only death will free me. Kate looked at the complex machinery surrounding the energy sphere. If we destroy this, will it stop the Devourers? For a time, the architect replied, but there are others. My people created many Devourer fleets before we realized what we had done. I can give you the knowledge to find and stop them, but only if you free me from this prison. Ben started placing explosive charges around the core machinery. Kate, We have company coming. Lots of company. The sound of metal feet echoed through the corridors above them. The Devourers had figured out where the humans were going and were sending everything they had to stop them. How much time do you need? Kate asked Ben. 2 more minutes, he replied, working frantically with the explosives. Kate and Alex took positions at the chamber entrances and opened fire on the first wave of Devourer units. The machines poured into the chamber like a metallic flood, their red eyes glowing and their weapons charging. The battle was desperate and brutal. Kate's enhanced reflexes let her dodge attacks that would have killed a normal human, but there were so many enemies that she could not avoid them all. A Devourer claw raked across her armor, leaving deep scratches in the metal. Alex's heavy weapons tore through the enemy ranks, but for every machine he destroyed, 2 more took its place. His ammunition was running low. 30 seconds, Ben called out. A Devourer unit got past Kate's defense and charged toward Ben. Without thinking, Alex threw himself between them.
Ow.
The machine's energy weapon hit him full in the chest, burning. Through his armor and into his body, Alex fell but kept firing until his rifle was empty. "Get out of here," shouted to his friends. Kate wanted to help him, but more enemies were pouring into the chamber. Ben triggered the explosives. The core machinery erupted in flames and sparks. The enslaved architect's form grew brighter for a moment, then faded away peacefully. "Thank you," its voice whispered in their minds as it died. The chamber began to shake as feedback from the destroyed core spread through the pyramid systems. Emergency lights flashed and alarms wailed. Kate grabbed Alex and pulled him toward the exit. He was badly wounded but still alive. "We are leaving now."
Dad.
They fought their way back through the pyramid. Kate could feel the alien biotechnology in her system starting to fade. The enhanced senses and reflexes were wearing off, but the knowledge remained. She knew exactly where to go and what to do. They reached their extraction point just as the pyramid began to collapse. The destruction of the core had caused a chain, a reaction that was tearing the massive structure apart. From their escape pods, Kate watched the black pyramid crumble and fall toward the planet below. Across the system, Devourer ships began to drift aimlessly as their coordination network failed. Alex was unconscious but breathing. Ben piloted their pod back toward the Reaper while Kate watched the alien world below. Devourers were no longer attacking in organized groups. Zephyrian defense forces were beginning to fight back. But Kate knew this was only the beginning. The dying architect had shared its knowledge with her in its final moments. There were other Devourer fleets out there. Consuming other worlds, humanity had won its first interstellar battle. But the war for the galaxy had just begun. 3 days after the destruction of the main pyramid, Kate Miller stood in the medical bay of the UES Reaper, watching over Alex Foster. He was alive, but the Devourer weapon had done terrible damage to his chest and left arm. Dr. Roberts said he would live, but Alex would never be the same. "How are you feeling?" Kate asked when Alex opened his eyes. Alex tried to smile but winced. "In pain, like I got hit by a truck made of lightning." "How did we do?" Kate looked out the window at the Zephyrian planet below. The blue oceans were slowly returning as the alien people repaired their water systems. "We won. The Devourers stopped attacking when we destroyed their command center. Zephyrians are cleaning up what is left of the machines." "Good," Alex said, then closed his eyes again. "That is what matters." Ben Clark entered the medical bay, carrying a tablet computer. "Kate, you need to see this." The Zephyrians sent us their analysis of what happened when the core was destroyed. Kate took the tablet and read the report. When the enslaved architect died, it had sent a signal across space to other Devourer fleets. The signal contained information about human military capabilities and a warning about Earth's location. "They know where we are now," Kate said quietly. "It gets worse," Ben replied. The architect's final message contained information about 7 other active Devourer fleets. Each one is bigger than the force that attacked this planet. Kate felt a chill run down her spine. 7 fleets of planet-destroying machines now knew that Earth existed and that humans could fight them. Colonel Hayes entered the medical bay with Elder Veltam appearing as a hologram beside him. The Zephyrian leader looked much better than before, but his large eyes still showed the sadness of his people's losses. Sergeant Miller, Danny said, Elder Veltum has something important to tell us. The alien bowed gracefully. Thanks to your courage, my people are alive, and our world is saved. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid. We're happy to help, Kate replied. But I think our real problems are just beginning. Veltum nodded. You are correct. The knowledge that the dying architect shared with you shows that the Devourer threat is much larger than we knew. But it also revealed something else. Other species across the galaxy have been fighting these machines for centuries. Other species? Ben asked. Many, Veltam replied. Some have been driven to near extinction. Others have found ways to hide or delay the Devourers. But none have been able to stop them completely. Kate thought about this. Until now. The alien said. Your people are the first to successfully destroy a major Devourer command center. News of this victory is spreading across space through quantum communication networks that the machines cannot intercept. Danny looked interested. What kind of news? Valtam's hologram showed images of other alien species. Some looked like giant insects, others were made of crystal, and some appeared to be living energy. 17 different civilizations have already sent messages asking if the reports about humans are true. They want to know if Earth's warriors can really fight the Devourers. Kate realized what this meant. They want our help. They want to form an alliance, Veltum corrected. Each species has knowledge and technology that could help fight the Devourers. Together, you might be able to do what none could do alone. Alex managed to sit up in his medical bed. What about Earth? If the Devourers know where we are, should we not go home and defend our planet? Danny had been thinking about the same question. That is what Admiral Cross wants to know. She sent a message asking for our recommendations. Kate walked to the window and looked down at the recovering Zephyrian world. The floating cities were being rebuilt and the oceans were clearing. Up. Life was returning to a planet that had almost died. Colonel, she said finally, I think we need to take the fight to them. Explain, Danny replied. Kate turned back to face the group. The Devourers are like a disease spreading across the galaxy. You do not cure a disease by hiding from it. You have to attack it directly. Ben nodded. If we go back to Earth and wait for them to attack us, we will be fighting on their terms. But if we hunt them down, we choose when and where to fight. The other species could help us, Kate added. We provide the military force. They provide technology and intelligence. Elder Veltum looked pleased. Many of the species who contacted us have been developing anti-Devourer weapons for generations. They have ships that can hide from machine sensors and weapons designed specifically to destroy mechanical entities. Alex tried to stand up, but was still too weak. How many Warborn do we have left? Danny's expression became grim. 37. We lost 13 soldiers in the assault on the pyramid. Kate felt the weight of those losses. 13 friends and fellow warriors had died fighting for an alien world they had never seen before. But their sacrifice had saved 50 million Zephyrion lives. We will need more Warborn, she said. A lot more. Dr. Park is already working on expanding the program, Danny replied. But it takes months to properly enhance new soldiers. We cannot wait that long if other Devourer fleets are heading toward Earth. Veltum offered a solution. My people's biotechnology can accelerate your enhancement process. What normally takes months could be done in weeks. We also have medical treatments that can heal Corporal Foster's injuries completely. This was exactly what they needed. Kate looked at her wounded friend. Alex, what do you think? I think I want to get back in. The fight as soon as possible, Alex replied. These machines hurt a lot of innocent people. We need to make sure that never happens again. Ben was studying the tactical data on his tablet. According to this information, the nearest Devourer fleet is 6 months away from any inhabited system. If we move fast, we could intercept them before they reach their target. Kate made her decision. Colonel, I recommend that we accept the Alliance offer. We go after the Devourers, with help from the other species. Danny smiled. That is what I was hoping you would say. I will send our recommendation to Admiral Cross. The response from Earth came 12 hours later. Admiral Cross appeared on the main screen of the briefing room, her expression serious but determined. After consulting with the Solar Defense Council, And the President, we have decided to approve your recommendation, she announced. Earth is authorizing the formation of the first interstellar military alliance in human history. Kate felt her heart racing. This was bigger than anything humanity had ever attempted. Admiral Cross continued. The UES Reaper will remain in the Zephyrian system to coordinate with our new allies. We are sending 5 more ships with additional Warborn units and supplies. Your mission is to hunt down and destroy the remaining Devourer fleets. What about Earth's defenses? Danny asked. We are building orbital weapons platforms and training more enhanced soldiers, Cross replied. But our best defense is a good offense. Stop the Devourers before they reach our system. Over the next month, Kate watched as representatives from 17 different alien species arrived in the Zephyrian system. Each species brought unique technologies and knowledge about fighting the Devourers. The Crystalline Alliance provided ships that could become invisible to machine sensors. The Void Swimmers shared weapons that could disrupt Devourer communication networks. The Energy Dancers taught humans how to use living ships that could repair themselves during battle. Kate and her fellow Warborn learned to work with technologies they had never imagined. They practiced fighting alongside alien soldiers whose bodies were completely different from humans. It was difficult at first, but gradually they began to function as a unified force. Dr. Roberts worked with alien scientists to upgrade the Warborn enhancement process. Using Zephyrian biotechnology, they could now create enhanced soldiers in 3 weeks instead of 3 months. Alex Foster was the first to receive the new treatments, and within days his wounds were completely healed. Feel better than ever, Alex told Kate after his treatment. Stronger, faster, and the alien biotechnology seems to be permanent now. Kate had received similar upgrades. Her already enhanced abilities had been improved even further by alien technology. She could interface directly with living ships and weapons. And her tactical awareness had expanded to cover entire battle zones. The first joint mission, launched 2 months after the Battle of Zephyria. A combined fleet of human and alien ships set out to intercept a Devourer force that was heading toward a system inhabited by peaceful traders. Kate stood on the bridge of a living ship grown by the Zephyrians, specifically for the Warborn. The ship's walls pulsed gently around her, and she could feel its artificial intelligence responding to her thoughts. All ships report ready, she announced to the fleet. Target is 3 days away at current speed. Ben commanded a squadron of fighter craft that looked more like flying insects than traditional ships. Alex led a ground assault team, equipped with weapons that seemed to be made of crystallized light. As the fleet approached the Devourer force, Kate felt the familiar mix of fear and excitement that came before battle. But this time was different. This time, humanity was not fighting alone. The battle was fierce but brief. The combined technologies of 18 different species proved overwhelmingly superior to the Devourer's mechanical efficiency. Within 6 hours, the entire enemy fleet had been destroyed. But more importantly, they had captured intact Devourer command systems. Alien scientists began studying these systems immediately, learning more about the machine's origins and ultimate purpose. What they discovered changed everything. The Devourers were not just randomly consuming planets, they were building something specific. Analysis of their command codes revealed that all 7 remaining fleets were converging on a single location at the edge of the galaxy. They are building a gateway, Elder Veltam explained during the post-battle briefing. A massive structure that could transport their creators across space from wherever they have been hiding. Kate felt her blood turn cold. Their creators are still alive? We believe so, Veltam replied. The original architects who survived the machine uprising have been waiting somewhere beyond our galaxy. The Devourers are preparing the way for their return. The implications were staggering. If the original architects returned with technology far beyond anything the Devourers possessed, no force in the galaxy would be able to stop them. Kate looked around the briefing room at the representatives of 19 different species who had come together to fight a common threat. Humans, Zephyrians, crystalline beings, energy creatures, and others she could not even properly describe, all united in common purpose. Then we stopped them, she said simply. All of them. Admiral Cross's voice came over the communication system. From Earth, Kate, you have new orders. The President and the Solar Defense Council have authorized me to give you field command of all human forces in the Alliance fleet. Kate was stunned. Admiral, I am just a staff sergeant. Not anymore. Cross replied. The Senate just approved your promotion to general. You are now the youngest general in human history and the first to command alien forces. Kate felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. The fate of Earth, the Alliance, and possibly the entire galaxy now rested in her hands. But as she looked around at the faces of her fellow humans and alien allies, Kate felt something she had never experienced before. Hope. Not just hope for survival, but hope for victory. The Devourers had made a critical mistake. They had united the galaxy against them. Now it was time to show them that some forces in the universe were stronger than any machine. The war for the galaxy had begun, and humanity would lead the charge.